Yeah.
So where am I? Okay, so I think we are live. I'm here with Matthew Murdock, the one and only. How are you doing, my brother?
I am doing pretty good.
Oh my God, we've been waiting for this moment for 2 years. It's
Yeah.
been like 2 years since we've seen you.
Ah, it's been a long time, man. And that 2 years seems like 20. But yeah, I recently watched the last interview that I did, and I'm just like, gosh, man, I just was like, what a retard.
Why?
I don't know. I just remember when I was watching, I'm like, what was I even talking about? I was a little out there though at that time, so I guess it makes sense.
You were high on
But
crack, right?
well, I was, injecting meth and smoking weed and stuff, and
Banging hookers.
yeah, even orgies, hooker. Like, remember, I always love how you would talk about plumbing the depths of the depravity of the world
And
or
that's what you
going the
did?
other way. Oh yeah, I went all in, dude. Kind of identity crisis type of a thing, I guess, and yeah, I was just like, well, maybe this is me. I'm gonna go give it a
So
shot.
you're serious? You went to the dark side again? You went deep into the dark side.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Dancing with the devil.
yeah. Just
That's good. The close up is good. You should keep that. Keep that.
indulging the flesh.
Yeah.
Rebelling against God.
Hello, 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 hello.
How I struggled with that for quite some time.
Yeah.
And just kind of, are you there?
Yeah, yeah. You're
Hello.
busting up a bit. You're busting up, breaking up a
Where'd you
bit.
go?
Satan's angry.
Oh, dang it! Here, is it my end or yours?
Your end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm
Get
gonna
out.
try to
Get
redirect into a
outside.
room where there's some. Yeah, I am outside, but I think maybe going inside will have some better reception. Maybe.
Oh yeah. Oh cool. Um. So yeah. So
Okay. Yeah,
are
just bear with
you?
me for a sec. Okay, mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gonna find your way to your room?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. There's a bit of
Anything?
a
Hello,
delay. There's a
hello,
bit of a delay
hello.
there.
Can you hear? Okay. Yeah, just the area that I'm in is kind of a black hole for the shit. But is it okay, or
Yeah, yeah.
because I can just post up in here?
This is
I'm
good.
actually at my parents' house.
Yeah,
All
you
right,
could
cool.
get comfortable, man.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
baby. So
Yeah.
the past couple of years have been rough for me too, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, fill me in. I don't know a lot.
well, just the idea is with COVID, I excuse me, I haven't had access. I was deprived of the sacraments, and my prayer life suffered. I started dabbling with dark stuff and old temptations for sexual sin with video games I was playing. I've talked to you about this before.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah.
And, it's nothing maybe too hardcore for your average person. They would think it's pretty tame stuff. But for
Yeah.
me, I could feel Satan luring me to the dark side. I could feel like he wants me, he wants my soul. He's offering me, like, hey, this little pleasure, whatever.
Yeah.
And, it's been a rough couple of years. But now I'm allowed to go to church again because I'm not vaccinated. They didn't let me go to church for a while. But now,
Anti-vaxxer, huh?
yeah, baby.
Nice.
And so they're letting me come back now, so I'm building my strength again, and I'm feeling more. I'm feeling less vulnerable to the temptations of Satan. You know what it's like when you go through the ups and downs, where you're like vulnerable to temptation, and other times you're like, no, I'm strong and I'm firm in Christ because I'm walking the walk, thanks to the graces that I'm saying yes to. But when you neglect the graces, then you get weak, and then you just don't have the strength to even say yes to the graces. It's just a cyclical pattern. You've seen it in your own life, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I've been going through, and I'm in a better place. I'm getting better, more confident and strong, and less interested in even just looking at sexy women on the street that I see. I just
That's
don't look
good.
at them. It's a real temptation, just to look at sexy women on
Yeah.
advertising. Like there are billboards in Montreal where it's just like sexy women
Yeah.
showing their asses
Do,
to me and stuff.
Do they have yoga pants out there
Oh
in
yes.
Grand Canada? Yeah, those are
Yeah.
bullshit, aren't they? They make it real
The
easy. It's
devil's
like, oh
work.
well, it's like, oh, there's a vagina right there, out there, just like
You got
bam.
the camel
It's like,
toe on display.
yeah, on one side and the back, and it's
You
just
got a
like,
camel
come
toe
on,
on
man.
both. You got the two camel toes happening there.
Yeah, yeah, I got a moose knuckle and a camel toe. Yeah, no, but just comment on what you're saying is um, that temptation for you. It is just as real, and the bait and the destruction that it would bring is the same
It's
as
the same. It's the same.
someone like me. It's just I just go out and do it.
Yours costs more.
Yeah, it costs more. Uh, uh, some urgent care visits. I had quite a few of those, my friend.
God Almighty.
But it is more. It's more destructive outwardly, maybe to other people, but to your own soul, it's probably just about the
It's
same.
the
Like if
same.
you would
It's
have
the
given
same thing.
into it and given in, because
Yeah.
it's all about your mind, anyways.
Yeah. Sleepless. I've had sleepless nights. Not too many, but a couple of sleepless nights over the past 2 years where I'm like, I will go to hell if I die. If I don't make it till tomorrow morning, where I can go to confess my sins.
Right.
Like I don't know if my contrition is sufficient to save me. Like that, I feel sorry for my sin, but I'm also
Yeah.
being flooded by pornographic images in my brain, and I'm like also going with them, and I'm like having this whole
Yeah.
fantasy world of
That
disgusting.
fantasy thing.
The
Yeah.
fantasy world is very dangerous, and Satan loves it. He's the master of theater.
Yeah.
He can give you all these situations like, oh, look at this and look at this and look at this, and like, you just bite the forbidden fruit in your mind like by playing this game. It's weird. The power of the imagination, and it's really dark, sick stuff. And luckily now that I'm back in the state of grace, I'm like, that's disgusting. Like, why was I indulging in fantasies of all this rape and all this sick, dark stuff? Like, just like totally sick with violence. And it's like, is that me? That's me without Christ. Okay. So like, holy shit. Like, and he died for me, even though I'm a disgusting pervert. Like, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Or can I blame Satan for some of that? Not really. Cause he's just saying, hey, what about this situation? I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like,
Yeah.
it's so dark. It's like it says in the Bible, like the dog returning to eat its vomit. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
I went and made
It's
a
disgusting. It's disgusting.
big bowl of soup out of that stuff. It's really gross. Yeah,
God help us.
I'm with you, man. Yeah,
God
no,
help
it's
us.
just, yeah.
Anyway, we have to remember. We have to remember our past sins, and it's like, yes, I'm disgusting. Yes, I'm disgusting. Yes, I'm disgusting. But God loves me, and Jesus died for me, and He's going to give me the strength to be wholesome and pure, and take one day at a time, and take one foot in front of the other, and be holy, for I am holy. And it's just like it's obvious as the nose on your face that left to our own devices, we're just disgusting.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was going to comment. What was I going to say? Yeah, but when you're talking about that theater and those fantasies, I do feel. I know some of it's just coming from our own fleshly imagination because the flesh wants what it wants, but I feel sometimes it's so strong. Those fantasies and those ideas.
It's not natural.
It's like I'm finding it so hard now. And it's even harder now because I mean lust is always a problem, I think, for all guys and maybe women too. I don't know, probably, but because after I had that road to Damascus type of thing happen to me, and then I was kind of set free from a lot of that stuff in my drug use for that 9 years. I still, struggled a little bit with the lust. I'd have to dodge my eyes, and I'd want to stare at a girl's ass, or, that type of stuff. And I'd fight them off. But ever since I did what I did this last couple of years with the adultery, and then just in the full blown sexual perversion, just no holds barred. It's like on steroids now. Those
the fantasies,
those thoughts, just the thought, just the images and the thoughts of actual shit that I did, and then it plays off of uh, than other fantasies about this and that. It's just like, I can't drive down, I have a commute to work, and that's just like the worst time. Like when I have nothing
Yeah.
to think of, it's like, I don't know. I just think I really did myself a lot of damage,
Yeah.
and the Bible says a man who commits adultery destroys himself. And now I see what it is. I know that I can be forgiven and that there's
Yeah.
grace and stuff, but that stain of what I did and the shit that I've done, it ain't gonna go away, and life's a lot harder now.
The damage is there, and you can feel that you're damaged for sure.
Yeah, and the drugs and stuff, like,
Yeah.
I didn't struggle at all with cravings or anything for 9 years.
Yeah.
And since I decided to go back to that vomit, or go back to the mud like the pig, it's been a daily battle.
And there's
for
no
me
peace.
too.
There's no peace. There's no peace there. You can't even, like I said, I had a couple of sleepless nights where I'm like, I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. And if people knew, okay, it's one thing to say, okay, these fantasies and whatever. It's like, it's pretty tame by today's standards when you think about what people are getting up to. Like, but the reality is, like you said, it doesn't really matter. Like a bunch of big sins or one sin, like it doesn't really matter the quantity. Like, we're offending God. And I knew I was in danger. I knew I was not in the state of grace. I knew I was in the state of mortal sin, and I knew I was scared. I was scared. And that fear is a grace. That fear is an indication that God is still working on your heart. So if you have that dread of hell, if you have that dread of offending God, that's a great grace, and you need to cling to that.
Yeah.
Right? Even that feeling that you're disgusting, if you have that, nourish it and cherish it and cling to that, because that's God saving you.
Yeah, and it just sucks because when you bring that up, it's just kind of biting for me, because I've just noticed, I'm way less sensitive to the spirit than I was,
You
and
got
I
to
know
get
that
back on track. You got to get back on track.
and I know there's those verses that warn about having a seared conscience,
Yep.
and God giving them over to a debased
Yep.
mind.
Yep.
And I've gotten warnings, I believe, through kind of revelation, not like Pentecostal God revelation, but how God speaks to us through brothers like you, and then like a bunch of different people will pretty much say the same thing who aren't connected in any way, and they're Christians, and like, okay,
message received.
Yeah, it's like I'm dangerously close to it, or just the books I'm reading. It'll be talk about, I was reading some C.S. Lewis and The Great Divorce. Have you ever read that one?
I think
when
I
he
heard it
goes
on an
to heaven.
audiobook. I think I heard it on an audiobook.
It's just great. But I just feel like I'm actually in that book, and people are trying to, like the angels or whatever, or just the people who have gone on to actual heaven are trying to like convince these like ghosts to let go of all their earthly shit and move on. But they just argue against it. And then finally, some of them, there's just a point where they just say, okay, well, there's nothing we can do for you. We're just going to let you go to hell because that's what you want to do. That does scare me, because I remember how terrified I used to be of everything. And now I'm just like, I've pushed it so far, and been kind of warned and had those warnings, like in the C.S. Lewis book, it talks about the guys like, are any of these people even capable of being saved? Because it's kind of like a purgatory thing. Like they're trying to talk them out of hell, right? Basically. And so they'll repent and bring them into, the actual heaven. And he's just like, well, there's always that one time too many, when it's going to be the tipping point of, okay, God says, here you go. And you don't want to gamble on that. And that's exactly what I keep fucking doing, man.
Yep. You have.
I'm so stupid.
I want to tell you a warning, a severe warning. You have a certain number of graces that will be given to you where you can repent, and then you used them up, and it's just like you are given over to
Yeah.
to your sin, and then you're just numb. You're just numb, and you just don't care anymore, and you're just on your way to hell. So yeah, you've got Saint Alphonsus Liguori talks about this a lot. It's like you don't know if you're going to receive the same chance, like the same opportunity that God's given you 100 times before. You don't know.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee you're going to get that chance again. There's no guarantee. So that'll put the fear of hell into you. That'll put the fear of God into you, and then you can just say, "Look, I've abused your generosity enough, God. I've abused your generosity 100 times or more, and I'm done abusing your generosity. Thank you for giving me this last chance, and I appreciate it. And the way I'm going to show I appreciate it is I'm actually going to change my life." And then, if you're serious about it, then you can start to have the peace, and then you'll chase away those demons and all the memories and all that sort of thing. You're still going to remember, of course, that you're a sinner and everything you've done and how you've betrayed your Lord. But that's going to be a consolation to you to say, wow, he went and scraped me from the bottom of the barrel, and look how far down into the muck and mire Christ went to retrieve me, a disgusting sinner.
Yeah.
And I know I'm a disgusting sinner because I still have in my memory all the things I thought, said, and did. And thank God that he gave me that one last chance, and I've taken it, and I'm so happy I've taken it, because now I have peace. Right? I can still remember my sin, but it's not a torment to me. It's a consolation to me. It's no longer a torment to me. It's a consolation to me. Why? Because I see the love of God, how he went down into the muck to get me, and that there's absolutely no one that's beyond his mercy and his graces. No one. Because there's no one beneath me. I'm the worst. So I'm the worst. So like I have proof. I am proof. I'm living proof of the infinite mercy of God. And that's why I say yes to his mercy, and this is my last chance. You have to take it seriously. This is my last chance.
Quit saying you're scaring the shit out of me.
Oh my God, it's scary, man. It's scary. Work out your salvation in fear and trembling.
Fear and trembling, yeah.
Yes.
So and even you reaching out to me today, I know is one of those means of God's grace and stuff. Because you've helped me a lot, and you've always had a good way of explaining stuff to me, and I just really appreciate your perspective on things, man. Because you're my brother. Okay. You're one of a kind, man. Love these other people I talk to aren't, they're well-meaning but not very helpful in these type of things, and not really willing to be transparent, like yeah. Because you have to be transparent. So yeah, this is the nasty shit going through my mind. And how about you? Because the church culture is usually like we just put on a mask and we hide all that shit, and then everyone feels like they have to be fake and stuff. And I mean, how are you supposed to grow in a community?
And you feel like you're the only pervert in the pew.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's no. We have to be like a little child, like the little child. Little child can still hide his sin sometimes, but the little child is fundamentally honest and innocent, right? Oh, yeah. I just got a shout out to you, Matthew, with 6 or was that 5 exclamation points from Kieran.
Kieran, my brother. Love you, dog.
He's the one and only.
Yeah. The Disney brothers. Yeah. I'm gonna send them Disney boys after you don't pay your bill. Sounds like, These guys are awesome, man.
He says,
that'd be cool if we could do a meet and greet someday, dude. That'd be so badass, man.
In real life.
Yeah. Like in person.
That's forbidden. That's forbidden by the Big Brother One World organization. Yeah. No more real life. That's no good.
No real life anymore. Just your car warranty.
Video chatting. You'll own nothing. You'll be free.
So are you guys still all locked down with the COVID shit?
Well, we're still on mask mandate.
See, there's a magical thing in America. It's like one day it was COVID. Then the next day it's, Russia. And what happened to fucking COVID? I don't have to wear a mask. I don't have to do shit. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Cool.
That seems a little fishy to me.
You think?
I got COVID twice and was vaccinated.
Oh.
Yeah. I got it, and then I got vaccinated only because I wanted to go to a basketball game with the Earn Dog, St. Ernest. He's like, come to a basketball game, but you got to have the shot. I'm like, fuck. All right, I'll get the shot. I really regret getting it, man.
Oh.
So I'm a
You made
cyborg
a
now or
mistake.
something.
You made a mistake.
Yeah, I can like see through walls and shit now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You're transhuman, man.
Yeah,
You're one
it's
of the
pretty cool.
Borg.
Yeah, dude, coming after you when they flip the switch.
Yeah. 5G, man.
Yeah,
Kieran says, "Love you, man."
love you, brother.
I always knew he was gay. I always knew it, and now he's proved
Gay
it.
as hell.
He loves you, and you're a man, and he's a man. I'm just kidding
No
you.
homo, bro.
No homo, bro. I'm just kidding you, Kieran.
Don't let my haircut give you the wrong idea. Look at that hard part. That's
you and the Disney brothers. It's like, what's with these haircuts? You get
they
like
have cool fucking haircut. Every time I see them, they got a new one, and I'm like, man, they look fucking good, man.
You should get in touch with his barber, man.
Yeah. Yeah, those freaking
fly
guys,
him down.
man.
Fly him down to where you at?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm in Podunk, Reno, Nevada.
Oh shit, that's right. Yeah. Gambling town.
Gambling, prostitution's what we're built on. Solid morals, solid, Christian morals, casinos, and brothels. Mining, so just greed and sex. So.
Who's your state mascot? Satan?
Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely some principalities at work here. It's a pretty. It's just getting uglier and uglier here. Probably everywhere. I don't know.
You should get yourself an igloo up here in Canada, man.
Dude, I totally would, man. And come on and say, hey, man, how's it going, eh?
About this and about that.
How about this? It's about diplomacy. Yeah, dude.
Great. Good to see you. Good to see your face, though, man.
Yeah, I miss you, man. I think about you guys all the time. I think about you and Lisney brothers. I just, it's just kind of cool.
It's the Lisney sisters now because they both went trans.
Sisters.
They went trans. You didn't know it.
They identify as gay women.
Black women. So it's, they both identify as overweight black women.
Well, they're going to be set up pretty good if they do that. If they can pull that off.
All the doors are opening. It's like
Yep.
Anyway, enough silliness.
And so I forgot about what your eschatological views are about like the end of the world stuff. Do you think that the current state of unrest in globally is some kind of a sign of maybe Jesus is going to come back and set all this shit straight?
We never know when.
Oh, I know we never know, but I just didn't know what your views are.
It's I view it like it's the darkest time I've ever witnessed, but
yeah.
If you go through history, I think you'll find you'll find all kinds of dark periods, and
yeah, it was never really good, huh? Because I hear because a lot of the guys, I'm sure you're familiar with like the dispensationalist type of guys that are all about 666 mark of the beast, the Antichrist, and they have all these, they just interpret the newspapers and kind of impose it over the Bible and say, see, look, little. But and they say that too. They make that argument about how bad it is, but it's like, have you ever like read about Rome? What they were like? I mean,
Caligula.
They had their little 12-year-old boy sex slaves. You know what I mean? Like they were
full on.
Yeah. Monuments to like bestiality and stuff. It's like, these are my kind of people.
There's nothing. There's nothing new. Nothing new under the sun, man.
Yeah.
Nothing new under the sun. This is our time. This is our time to choose. Okay, so you and I can say, "Wow, the mask is coming off Satan," and it's like, okay, I know what he's got to offer me. Yeah, pleasure and all this sort of stuff. And then I know what Christ has to offer me, the narrow path of suffering and self-denial. It's like, okay, so now I'm really getting pressured to choose because the masks are coming off all the tyrants. Yeah. And I got to choose, but here, let me just dance a little bit more with Satan. This is fun. And then ultimately, I'm going to choose Christ, but right now I'm busy dancing with Satan and enjoying all these pleasures, short-term pleasures.
Yeah.
But no, we gotta wake up and we gotta say no. We gotta do it now. We gotta do it now because we never know. We never know when Christ is gonna come, right? And I'm not talking about the end times. I'm talking about in your life. Like you could die.
Yeah, die.
You could just
Yeah.
die, right?
Yep.
So when I talk about
Totally
those
agree.
sleepless nights where I'm like, I'm going to hell, we have to carry with us that fear. Like we can die at any moment, and very few people are prepared for death or expect the hour of their death. And we have to remember that we could die at any moment, and we have to therefore be in the state of grace. We have to be in the state of grace, and we have to watch and pray, watch and pray, watch and pray. And it says nothing in the Bible about squeezing in as many illicit pleasures as you possibly can before you repent and change your ways, right? No.
It's in the index. It's in the
The appendix. The appendix.
the appendix. Yeah.
You know, like Lot's wife looking. All she did is look back. Bang. Too late.
Yeah.
Too late. Sorry.
Sorry, bitch. Yeah.
Sorry. No, but I mean, it's too late. Like, I mean, just imagine yourself right now burning in hell and saying, "Oh,
Whoops.
shit, whoops!" Like it was like I was just caught at the wrong time. Like, hey God, why don't you just wait? Like I was gonna repent tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just give me 5 more minutes? I was just on the verge. Because
And God's like, we've ran the simulation like 2 trillion times, and you fuck up every single one. So, yeah, we're just done here, bud. Yeah.
Yeah. So now is the day. What is now is the time of salvation. Now is the hour. Now
Today is the day
acceptable
of salvation or something.
Today is the acceptable day, and now is the time of salvation.
It's today. Yep.
It's now.
Yeah.
This is it. Like you got to choose life. Like Moses said, I put
Tomorrow.
before you life and death. Choose.
Yeah. Choice. Yeah.
What's your choice, Matthew? What's your choice? Tell me. Tell the world. All 6 listeners.
Well, I mean, I have to choose Christ because all the other options are no good, and I know that, but still, and C.S. Lewis also said it well. It's like all these worldly passions, especially for me, drugs and sex and all that stuff. It's he says it's an ever increasing craving for an ever diminishing pleasure.
Yeah.
It's like the more you do, like even when I went out and did all that stuff and like you have these fantasies, think of some gnarly ones.
Yep.
I said, sign me up. I'm gonna go give it a shot. See if what it's all about. Because in your mind you're like, oh wow, it's gonna be this. And it was a total cheap rip off. There was
no joy.
Literally like there was no
joy.
even the pleasure. Like even getting off and stuff. It's like I think my body knew like the spirit was still in me to know like, nope, you're not gonna just like I don't want to get too graphic here, but it's like nothing ever panned out, okay. But me just being there, being a willing participate, putting myself in there, that's all it takes. Or even maybe just making the mental assent of it in your mind in secret, just saying, oh yeah, this is okay. Gotcha. He's gotcha. And there's like, it's like, if he's going to, take us to hell, do something like lure me to send me to hell, he could at least give me the fucking payoff. But no, the devil's, he's not, he's a freaking liar. I mean, he's a father of lies. It's like that. Well, you couldn't trust him, huh? I guess not. I guess he wouldn't come through. But he's a little bitch, and I don't like him, man. Yeah. He's got me a few times. So that's my own stupid fault.
You gotta hate him. You gotta hate him. You gotta hate him. You gotta hate him.
Yeah, no, he's a dick, man.
Yep.
He's a total dick.
Spread the news. Spread the news to your friends and family. Satan's a fucking dick.
He is, though. I mean, and it's just, and my daughter's starting to get into like this occult stuff, because it's trendy of your kids and the musicians that she listens to are all those Illuminati, devil worshiping Mason weirdos, because that's what they're putting out. That's what Hollywood's all about. And I just try and tell her, it's like, this is a lie. Like the spirits behind that are driving all of that whole industry and all that, they want to kill you and fuck up your life. Like, would you want to hang out with someone who, even if they're like real pretty or popular or whatever, but you like, that their only plan or design for being friends with you is to eventually get access to your stuff and steal it or kill your mom or run over your dog. Like, you wouldn't want to hang out with that person. You wouldn't take anything from them, And that's just a lesson I had to learn the hard ways. That because I was just felt like the demons were like your friend in a way, trying to say, oh, why don't you just take a break? You're working too hard. You're trying, you can't do all this. Just, but no, that's just they just stab you in the back as soon as they can, expose you. It's just I don't like them, but I still.
I'm showing on the screen now. I'm showing a recent picture of Madonna. It's allegedly
Oh God,
Madonna.
dude, I know
like,
which one you're talking about. She has the braids and she like comes to the camera and like, that creeps me out.
If you want to unmask Satan and you want to see what he promises, how empty his promises are.
Yeah, look at her.
You take a beautiful young Catholic girl and you convince her.
She was Catholic.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Well, Madonna is the mother of God, right? Madonna, that means Our Lady.
Okay.
And she rebelled against Christ and his church, and she became rich and famous and had lots of illicit sex and has her sex book and all her boy toys and girls and boys and I don't know what else. And when she was young and beautiful, all the doors were opening, money and everything is good. And now, I'm sorry, but she's pathetic and she hasn't realized yet that she's been duped. She's been duped by Satan.
Yeah.
She doesn't realize it, right? So you have to thank God. You have to thank God every moment of every day that you have some self-awareness, you're contrite, you know that Satan's an asshole. It's like, just look to her example. She's a monster, literally a monster, which means she's demonstrating what the difference is between choosing life and choosing death. She's a demonstration of that. Look to her. Even if it nauseates you, look to her. Hey, this is what Satan does. This is the cruel slavery of the devil. And look back at the golden age of your Christian walk. Look at the light yoke of Jesus Christ. Think about the trials and tribulations you went through as a Christian and how you had the joy in your prayer life and your walk with God when you were at the peak of your faith journey. The peak, the golden time for Matthew Murdock. Think about that and then look back at the picture of Madonna and say, that's the cruel slavery of the devil. Look back at your own debauchery. Say, that's the cruel slavery of the devil. Look at the promises that Satan gave you. Look at what he delivered. Less than nothing. Less than nothing. Yeah. He robbed you, he beat you, he tortured you, and he gave you less than nothing in return. And then just thank God. Thank God that you have the grace to repent and the grace to struggle to get back to a place where you can be walking in your faith again. So what is the golden age of you? What is the peak? What are some of the peaks of your Christian walk? Looking back.
I think the first couple of years after I had that got saved or whatever, praying with those old guys out in Bishop. I was they say in the evangelical whatever is I was on fire for the Lord. I really was. And
how did it feel confronting challenges, daily challenges, and whatever challenges when you had the yoke of Christ on you?
Well, it was cool because I didn't. I still struggle. I mean, I don't know. I was kind of a very self-conscious Christian, like what you were describing, like whatever it was. I thought I'm going to hell, man. Oh, I smoke cigarettes. Oh, I gotta quit. I'm going to hell. Then I finally quit smoking cigarettes. Like, oh, I'm an asshole too. Gosh, now I got to work on that. And then, then I stopped being less of an asshole. Start being less of an asshole. And then it's like, oh man, find out something else. So I was always kind of introspective like that, and struggled, but I knew I was alive. That was the thing. Like, and certain things like didn't tempt me at all. Like someone could have brought me a bag of crystal meth and like, here, want some of this? I'd have been like, shit. I could have taken it from him and thrown it away. A girl could have approached me.
Take some of this. And the girl says, take some of this.
Have some of these. Which has never happened to me, by the way. If I was good looking like those Leslie boys, maybe I'd have that type of temptation. But no, I mean, I was just like strong. I was.
You weren't strong. No. You were not strong. You were not strong.
I was strong in Christ because I was abiding And when you're doing that, certain things really can't touch you, you know.
Yeah. Protection.
But it's a game for the mind, and the enemy is after all of us, I think, in one way or another. And they were playing the long game, and they had a plan, methodical, step by step
They were eating their popcorn.
way to get my mind out there. And then once my mind was out there, you know, just to
Toast.
get the sheep away. And it's like, and I'm just a fool. I didn't know. I didn't believe in anything, you know. I was just like, I don't know who I am. What am I? What is it? Like just utter confusion. And it's just like, oh
Darkness.
yeah, you're a pervert. Remember? Let's go do some shit. So, yeah, that sounds good. Let's try that. Bad idea.
Yeah, but I want to say something to you that is very encouraging. Very encouraging. Okay, because I went, I went into mortal sin with all the depravity and whatever of my own lust. Okay, and when I most recently got back into the state of grace, and I sort of said, screw that, that's demonic and whatever, as I always knew it was. But when I said I've had enough of eating my own vomit and in the muck and mire, it's changed my perspective now on my scrupulosity. I'm not as scrupulous now about the little things. Like you said, you were scrupulous. Oh, I smoked a cigarette, I must be going to hell. No. Now, when you come out of this funk, can you still hear me, by the way?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just had to. My wife is. She needs something from me. I just have to send her a photograph. But yeah, I can hear you and see you. Yep.
Yeah. But when you come out of this funk and you get back in the state of grace and you're walking with Christ, you're going to have a new perspective on the little things that you were scrupulous about before. I think, because that's how I feel now. Now I'm just so happy to not be in that place where the devil can just flood my mind with pornographic images of sex and violence. Like, I'm just so happy to be like, now I can sort of see the difference between a state of grace and state of mortal sin. Because before I was like, oh, I did this, I was impatient with my wife. I must be in a state of mortal sin, so I'm going to go confess it. I still confess it, but now I know I'm not in the state of mortal sin. I know.
It's a mortal sin being mean to your wife?
It can be, but I mean, I can feel the difference now. I can feel the difference because I've experienced recently mortal sin. It's disgusting. Like, when you're in that state, you're disgusted with yourself. But if I lose patience with my wife, which happens almost every day, I could patch it up with her, and I could patch it up with Jesus. I'm not in a state of, I'm not going to go to hell. I know the difference, right? Because it's just like, it's a hopeless place. When you're someone that's trying to be Christian and you're in mortal sin, you feel that hopelessness, you feel that despair, you feel that self-disgust. And when you get clean and you confess your sins, you just feel back in the state of grace. And of course, there are temporal punishments for those sins that are going to come back to bite you later, but whatever, you accept them with joy. Like, that's my karma, I got to deal with it.
Yeah.
You see the difference? So, like, I think this experience of turning back to your vomit, I think ultimately it will help you. It will help your spiritual battle. This is what one of my priests told me. He said, David, you're a very experienced warrior with the spiritual battle, and you have what it takes to win, and I think you're going to go to heaven because you fight, right? Yeah, you fell, and I've confessed to him on a couple of different occasions, so he knows the depravity of my mind, and I've done a general confession. I told him all the sick stuff I've done since my youth, right? Sexual stuff, and primarily sexual stuff.
I had to do that one too.
But he said, you're a warrior, and you've gathered some fresh experience here, and you know the enemy a little bit better, and I have every confidence you're going to go to heaven because you love Christ, and you came and confessed your sins, and you made a good confession, and you're contrite, and you hate Satan and his lies, and you're disgusted with sin. And it's like, so now I have a really strong contrast between that disgusting state of mortal sin and just the venial sins that I commit every day, all day, every day. Gluttony and laziness and all those sorts of things. Like, there's a big difference, and I just feel a lot less scrupulous, and I think you will benefit in the same way when you come back into a state of grace. I'm not saying you're not in a state of grace. I don't know what your condition is.
I'm probably not. I want to get to confession now. It's been a couple of years.
Do it.
Oh no, maybe a year, but there's been some,
There's been some doozies.
yeah, there's been some doozies. Yeah, and it's always funny, telling the priest some of like the stuff I'm telling him. He's just like, oh, like,
Big fish.
yeah. But they're always so nice and kind, and yeah, it's like my one of the priests, Father Tom, the guy from India. He was a little like kind of looked at me like, but he's the one who I gave like the whole story to. He's just like, you're a piece of shit. No, uh, but he had some clear like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to, because you did this sin, you're going to, blah, 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 and you make it like he was kind of stern, but still in a loving way. But I thought it was freaking awesome.
Cool. Did
But
you do your penance?
well, it was kind of like a lifelong thing
Okay.
of
Are you doing it?
taking care of kids and making sure that my kids are raised in the church
Good.
and stuff. So I mean, as far it's
Are you doing that?
I'm doing the best I can with that. So yeah. So there was that. Because I've had many abortions under my belt and all sorts of abandoned kids and stuff, and so yeah. So that was like a big deal. Just to, well, now for the rest of your life, you're going to. You're going to be there for these kids, and you're going to,
Serve
you're going
the
to show
kids.
up, and you're going to be there. Yeah. And I think, as far as my own kids are going, pretty good, except for when I go on my little escapades, and that's kind of screws everything up because they don't know. And my little my sons love me to death. I got a 2-year-old and an 8-year-old,
Yeah.
and they're and in my wife and I are separated right now, and they want daddy to be there all the time, stay at night, and do all the stuff with them, and my sin is affecting them and affects just left a wake of destruction. And it's like I just have to realize that when I'm out there, because it feels like I'm just doing this me, it doesn't have to do with anybody else. I'm going through some whatever problem that justifies in my mind going and imbibing an illicit substance, which then makes me lose my freaking mind, and then I go do crazy shit. But in my brain, it's like, oh, it won't be like that this time. Just do a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how deceitful our hearts are.
Well, I have to also recognize. You have to
I
recognize
got a lot of evidence.
the voice of the
contrary.
demons too, right? The voice of the demons.
Yeah. It says they lure you, like in James. It says you're lured away by your own evil desires. So the desires are present in our flesh already, and then you just think of that little fishing lure. Say, hey,
shiny
object. They're just luring you out. And what are fishermen luring the fish to be their friends? No, they want to kill the motherfuckers. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
but
right?
I know, but that's the problem. Is that I know, David. I knew already.
Yeah.
That's the tragic part of it is that.
No, but when you're fed up and you're tired of it, you're just tired of the same old trap, falling in the same old trap. You just get tired of that. And you're just like, I'm done. I know your tricks. I'm done with it. I know it's empty and hollow. There's nothing good. I'm not going to have peace. It's just going to be the same shit every time. And I'm done. I'm done. So you have to reach that point where you're fed up and you're done. And part of that is being scared because you only have so many second chances. That's it. That you gotta keep that fear alive. Keep that fear. That's the fear of God. We have to fear offending God because He wants to save us, but He will not force us to go to heaven. It's up to you. It's really up to you. You have to choose. You have to make that choice. Make a firm, manly choice. Be a man. Be a manly man. And I'm one to talk because I'm not a very manly man. But, when it comes to the spiritual life, we're given an opportunity to rise up and to be fully human. And to be fully human is to have the dignity and we're made in the image and likeness of God. And we're just got to, be firm, for once in your life, just be firm. And then one day at a time. And when you taste the peace and the joy of walking with Christ, you'll lose the taste. Eventually, you'll lose the taste for the baser pleasures, and like you said yourself, it's just so empty, it's so disgusting.
Yeah.
It's all a fantasy. It's all just a bullshit fantasy, and he's laughing. Satan's laughing at you, but you can have the last laugh by laughing at him, because the deeper he's got his hooks into you, Satan, and he's invested into you, the more it's going to torture him and his minions, the demons. It's going to torture them for all eternity. That you got away. You got away. You got away.
The low hanging fruit gets away somehow.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we got this guy, no problem.
They have no idea. They have no idea that you have even a chance of escaping from their snares, because they think that you're easy. They think you're easy prey. Yeah. So the torture that you're going to submit them to, you have to think about that too. Like, you are going to torture these demons for what they've done to you, and the chaos they've introduced into your life and your family's life and your friend's life, whatever, that chaos, that pain, whatever, that's going to go away. You're going to be celebrating forever in heaven. But the pain that the demons are going to feel for having tricked you and for having messed things up for you here, it's never going to end. So you do have the last laugh. You do have the last laugh, provided you choose life.
Yeah. And that's just funny that you use those words, because when I was in the thick of it, and pretty much I was, dangerously close to completely like becoming apostate.
Yep.
And, I was just getting high, doing my thing and doing all that stuff. And I was starting to get like kind of normal, and my wife, who I cheated on and put her through all of this shit, was still calling me on the phone and just yelling at me, pleading with me, saying those words, choose life, choose life. Yeah. And I had such armor like around my heart and my body. Like, I was just cold, turning to stone, but her just choose life, pierced through that thing. Like, in that dark cavern in my chest, like a little ray came into my heart, and it was my wife saying, choose life, choose life. And I mean, I know those words it was Jesus Christ. It was God speaking to me through this woman. Are you going to listen to her? Are you going to choose life? Because if you don't, what you're choosing death. But those words, they just rattled around in my brain for a while. And it was just like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I don't, when that spell kind of washes off and you realize what's going on, and that's why it's just more confirmation. You just saying choose life. I know, whatever, but
it's amazing to think
about the same words.
The grace that God gave you with Jennifer's her name, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
The grace He's given you.
Yeah, it's like in my life, and one of my kind of counselors that I'm working with, he says, in my whole life, I've just been, anyone who gets close to me, I just, punt, I'll do something to make them leave. Be like, oh, you don't really love me, very insecure or whatever that is. But I push, when people get close, I push them away. Or if I'm close and I feel attached to somebody, and then I feel like they're turning from me, bam, I'll cut it off first, because I ain't going to be the one getting dumped. Or I've never been broken up with. I've left every chick in the dust. I've cheated on every single girl I've ever been with, and there's been a lot. I've been in a relationship since I was 13 years old, back to back, unfaithful to everyone. And I, and I didn't even realize that until recently. I'm working like kind of a 12-step thing where you do like a moral inventory and you write down everything you ever did, and then you have to share it with somebody. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like your confession time, but like in detail, which is terrifying. But when I looked at that list on paper, I was like, holy shit. I see some patterns here, and I don't know.
That's the depth of the mercy and the love of God right there on the paper, man.
Yeah, well, you just see it, and it looks ugly on paper,
It's uglier in real life, though.
I was gonna. that was going somewhere, but I lost my train of thought there. But
well, we're talking about the grace of having a beautiful wife, a Christian wife.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, and I shared that list with that guy, and we were talking about it, and he just noticed that like I just destroy and sabotage all my relationships and all that stuff because, I don't want to be vulnerable and all that crap. But he said, God's given you someone in your life who you burned the house down around her, you punched her out, you've done every single thing, and it's like basically like, are you going to stay or are you going to go? Like even kind of kids will do that, they'll push you away to see if you really love them or something like that. But he said he gave you one that's going to stand there after all that shit and look at you and say, now what? I'm still here, motherfucker, let's do this. And it's true. Like she is that. And as much as I, have resented her and all of this stuff, but seriously, man, she's like helped me so much. Even her nagging and stuff, like it kept me wobbling straight. Like I hated it and I'd get mad at her and everything like that. But it's like she was my external brain for a long time. Like I'm just very, immature and make stupid decisions because, I don't know, I'm just halfway retarded or something or whatever, just the way I've lived my life. I'm just, I don't know. I had a lot of growing up to do. And she's like always kind of kept me grounded and stuff. And it's just like, that is a huge grace. And what did I do? I like stuck it to her as dirty as you possibly can.
Does she know everything?
Honestly. Yeah. She knows it all.
Shit.
So that's one thing I couldn't hide it, like after all this stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm not telling her this time. Like, she doesn't need to know. It's just going to hurt her more or something like that. But it's just like, then she'll just point blank ask me, looking me right in the face. I'm like, fuck. Okay. But I came out and revealed everything.
Wow.
As it was going on. So it is, I'm very blessed to have her. And I mean, I don't know if it's going to work out. We're separated, but we both kind of want reconciliation.
Yeah.
And there's so much damage done. Like, it's going to take a long time till, things get better. But the guy who's working with me, that same counselor, he went through a similar thing where he had like a long-standing affair with his wife, who's just a total sweetheart and is just a total dirtbag. And now their marriage is stronger than it was before they went through all that shit. And they just kind of have a ministry helping people who are in that hopeless marriage scenario. And they're very powerful. They're super cool.
That's going to be you and Jen in a couple of years, man.
Yeah, and isn't that? I think so. And wouldn't that'd be amazing? It's like, because you always wonder, well, what's my ministry gonna be? What's God gonna use? He uses your flaws, mistakes, and the pain and suffering that you go through, self-inflicted or not, and then turns that into an opportunity to bless other people who you understand where they're at. Yeah, so
amazing, man.
Hopefully.
Anyone? Are you in one-on-one with this guy? Or you're in group setting?
Yeah, one-on-one. Yeah.
That's cool.
And then I'm doing 12-step, like a Christian version of the 12 steps.
Same gang that you were with a couple times before?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A couple guys from a few of the local churches, and we get together and do some stuff. It's pretty cool. It's actually pretty lame, but it's just I have to show up. Yeah. And just being in the community is beneficial, like-minded people trying to deal with all their shit too. But as far as like the actual experience, like literature and stuff, it's just kind of like, ooh, it's kind of cheesy. It's
no, it's just the discipline and the encouragement
and being honest, being able to go to a group of people and just say, all right, this is what I did this week.
Accountability.
And and they're not like, oh man, are you kidding me? Get out of here. They're just like, yeah, me too. Then I go to one called Pure Desire Ministries, which is geared. It's kind of a psychological and Christian approach to sexual purity and like people who have porn addictions.
Yeah.
Or people like me, that you just went to do the real deal. Because it's funny, I'm in a group of guys and they're like, I watched porn 2 times this week or something. And I'm just like, that shit you feel guilty about watching. It's like, I was doing that shit. It's way worse. And they're just like, ooh, I don't know. But it's kind of cool. But it's just always fun being the most fucked up guy in the room all the time.
Yeah. Well, they're doing the social distancing, 6 feet of separation with you. That's for sure. They don't want to catch any of your cooties, man.
I don't want to catch any of that stuff, man. Like, I don't blame you. I don't want it either. But yeah. So it's interesting, but it's actually a good one if anyone's interested. Pure Desire Ministries.
Cool.
It seems very helpful. It's very intensive. There's like a lot of homework and shit,
Good
which I
place
don't
to
really.
meet horny chicks too,
Yeah.
I heard.
No, yeah, no, it's all. Yeah, they don't. It's
Kidding.
segregated.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Where are we gonna find some loose women around here? Yeah.
Purity.com.
Yeah.
Swipe left, swipe right.
Oh
You can
yeah.
swipe me any way you want. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I thank God for these organizations. And do you have to pay money for these
Yeah.
things?
Yeah, the Pure Desire. I mean, you got to buy the books and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of expensive, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of bullshit. But I mean, people, they make their living selling books or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. It just kind of goes into like most of the time when we act out sexually, whether it's masturbation, pornography, infidelity, all of that stuff. Usually that's just symptoms of some trauma or some kind of dysfunctional family setting or something that you never really dealt with, but you just kind of built your personality and your coping mechanisms as a small child. And when you're a child, children are stupid. So you pick now. No, but you know what I mean? You built it on a faulty foundation, and then you find yourself as a full grown adult and you're still being,
you're still banging the horse.
Heavily influenced by those, those coping mechanisms that you grabbed onto when you were a kid because it worked and that you didn't really know any better. But so it kind of helps you go back and deal and face that shit that happened to you, because it's very common that there's some kind of trauma or something like that, and going back there and visiting that, bringing Jesus into that space, and then just tearing down the house and rebuilding it on a good foundation, the foundation of Christ, and rebuilding your thinking. It's all about the mind because. It is a battle of your mind. It says the daily renewing of your mind.
Yeah,
it's just that's all it is. And renewing your mind, just like how how the brain really works. I mean, you probably know better than I do, but you have to actually form when you do certain actions, it forms passageways in your brain to where you get that stimulus and it's going to go down that road that's already built. And so renewing your mind is rebuilding new pathways in your brain. And I think it's pretty genius that the Bible talks about it like that, because that is what it is. So by learning why you do the things that you do, and where they stem from, and then you can start being able to identify the triggers and all of that stuff early on, and then taking a detour and starting to form another passageway or something, which sounds cool to me. Yeah. And it's hard
for sure. Well, the other tip and trick for this type of thing is what St. Alphonsus Liguori says, and what a lot of saints say. It's like you have to recognize when I just got a live chat from my friend Joe. He said, "I'm David's biggest fan." That's nice. So thank you, Joe. Thanks for listening.
Bullshit. I'm his biggest fan.
We can have an auction later. We'll start the bidding in 15 minutes. But he says, don't let the serpent in. And the way you stop the serpent from coming in is as soon as you see his little tongue flicking through the opening. Sorry for the visual imagery here, but
I was like, where are we going with this?
As soon as you see his little flickering tongue at the hole into your home, you close that, you patch up that little hole right away. You don't let his head in, because as soon as his head's in, that's all he needs, and then he can go all the way through.
Right.
So this is like the image of the snake. Like the snake, the reason he's so effective is because he just said, well, you're not going to do the whole sin. You're just going to be a tourist in this thing, and you're just going to check this out, and you're just going to do it's just this, it's just that, it's just 2 weeks to flatten the curve, whatever, right? So it's just one shot. Oh, it's just two shots. It's just three shots. It's just four shots. Whatever. Like we can see Satan at work with the whole COVID thing too, right? The tyranny of the COVID thing. But
Absolutely.
it's just this. It's just that, and it's just like so. What the saints say is, as soon as you recognize the voice of Satan, you just stop it right there. No, I'm not even gonna do the first little tiny yes, like the little innocent yes. Oh, this is just an innocent suggestion. This one's just well, we always know it starts with an innocent suggestion. We always know that. And whenever I say yes to this innocent thing, and then it just snowballs into something that's not innocent. So it's just a firm no right from the get-go. And in your case, I think you recognize the voice. I think you know that innocent suggestion. I think you can recognize it, and you have that little voice in your head that's saying, "Yeah, I know, but I'm going to pretend that I don't know because I'm curious to see if there is this exciting world, right, or whatever it is, or experience, or pleasure, or whatever." Like that's exciting. Like it's exciting, but I'm not excited because of the sin that I know is coming, but I am excited for this other reason. You know, it's just like a whole bunch of lies and self-deception, and you feel energized, right? Like when you have this plan to sin, like, but you're kind of telling yourself you're not going to do it, but you're energized. You should recognize that energy and say, this is agitation. This is like an ungodly agitation. This is an ungodly excitement. And the pleasure that I'm foreseeing here is not a godly pleasure. I'm just going to say no right away. Like, sorry. Because I'm sick of that. I'm sick of that. I know how this ends. And I'm just, no, it's disgusting. There's nothing there for me. I want the peace of God. And I often say I'd rather suffer with Christ than party with Satan. It's just like, choose the suffering, man. Just choose the suffering. It's not that bad. And like, if the suffering is, well, I could be at the fun party and I could be with the fun people and the beautiful people and whatever it is, it's just like, it's not that much fun to begin with. And it's not going to be that much suffering to not go and to do something godly instead. Like, and even if it is a lot of suffering, like, oh, I sacrificed so much for you, Jesus Christ, like I didn't go to the party or whatever it is. It's like, if it really is a big sacrifice, then congratulate yourself. Like you made a big sacrifice for Christ, but you know it's not a big sacrifice. You know it's not.
He's doing you a favor, you know? Like, I really, did some good stuff. He's like, yeah, I just saved your ass, dude.
You can do nothing for God. I mean, just try to cut back on the sinning. Like, don't sin. Don't offend God. So,
and the thing, like, I get all that stuff, and when I have these explosions of whatever, when I kind of freak out and go do a bunch of stupid shit, it's usually, my triggers are, stress and exhaustion.
Yeah.
Just physically exhausted. My sleep patterns suck. I have a very physical job.
Yep.
And then you got the family stress, and I got the daughter stress, wife stress, kids stress, parent stress, all of that stuff. And I'm just kind of lost in that. And I start, I don't know. And then you get angry and you get irritable, and all that type of stuff starts creeping in to where it comes to a boiling point to where I just kind of lose that rationality. Cause I know,
obviously
I'd have to know, but that's just the thing why the brain is so tricky and so stupid. I'm really good at tricking myself into doing some stupid shit and coming up with these elaborate, this makes perfect sense. I'm just going to go do this thing that I did 1,000 other times, and it always ended up this way. No, it's going to be different this time. I got a handle on it right here. And I fucking believe it for that, and I know it's a choice, but it's like, I'm going to have, like what you're saying, like I have to be able to take it down when it's way back, when it's just that little, little thought, but those, you're not on guard for that shit. But I have to train to be on guard on those little things and notice it, so you can, because it's easy to cut it off when it's just a little thing, but when it's a full-grown boa constrictor coming at you, it's going to be a little more difficult,
What a battle, man. What a battle.
Yeah. And we all go through this, and we're like, I'm bored. It's like, how can you be fucking bored? This cosmic battle, good and evil, and all this crazy shit going on, and life is a trip when you're trying to be a soldier.
Just imagine for a moment the sinner, the criminal, the rapist, whatever it is, who doesn't have any qualms about what he's doing. He thinks there's no God. I'm an ape, that evolved
Yeah.
into whatever, and I'm maybe going to come back in another life because matter energy is going to transform when I'm dead, and I don't know. Who knows? We don't know. We can't know, and da da da. And so this feels good. I'm going to do it, and like, yeah, it's inconvenient for the other people involved, but whatever. I mean, I have the opportunity and the power, and it feels good, and they can make their own choices and they can defend themselves, whatever. Like, I mean, I can't live their life. I'm going to live my life, and it's just like I'm enjoying this. And they don't have any qualms about what they're doing, whether it's in business or whether it's in their personal life or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So you need to think about that person. That person is not tortured in their conscience, right? They don't have the grace that you have. So you need to compare and contrast with them and say, thank you, God, that I'm troubled, I'm disturbed, I'm wrestling, I'm in a spiritual battle, I'm fighting, I'm losing, but I'm fighting. You know what I mean? I'm losing, but I'm fighting.
Right.
What's the bad news? Bad news is I'm losing. What's the good news? The good news is I'm struggling. So it's like you have to thank God. You have to thank God that you're struggling. And you came so close to not struggling, to giving up the struggle. Like, it's an option even for you. It's an option for you to give up the fight. It's an option.
It
and
is.
You can become that numb guy that's just like, whatever, I'm just an ape. Just live, eat, drink, and be merry. Tomorrow I die. I don't know. Is there a God? Is there an afterlife? I don't know. Like, you could become numb like that. And just thank God that you're not there yet.
You absolutely can. And I was thinking, and this is just a side note, it's kind of something stupid I was thinking of the other night. And I know it's probably not, theologically sound or something, but I just had the idea of kind of what you're saying is we have the flesh, which is like our beast. We're kind of part beast, in a way, because we're made
animal nature. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the animal nature. The animal is a beast, and God's trying to separate us from that beast side, the spirit versus the flesh, right? Yeah. So, and then how the in Revelation it talks about the people who receive the mark of the beast. I don't know, the beast is talking about some figurative, world power or something like that. But I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, the mark of the beast. It's like, yeah, the mark. It's like you're either choosing the spirit or you're going to choose to be the beast and live by those rules and by those things. So it's like that's the mark of the beast, that you will not inherit the kingdom because you've chosen to align with that beast. Yeah, that bestial side. Exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know it's probably just a play on words, but I just thought, yeah, it's freaking mark of the beast.
I think you nailed it. I think that's an insight. I haven't heard that before, and I think
it just came to me that I'm like, yeah, I don't know if it's right.
That's that's the most practical application I've ever heard of that. So that's thank you for that.
Cool.
The lowered animal nature, man.
Mm-hmm. Because that makes sense. That's cool.
Very cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that beast side and just going out there and doing all that monkey stuff. I mean, it's But yeah, like you said, there's people who that's their life and they're just fine with it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's good for them. They don't have to worry about it until whatever. But I don't know. But I do, honestly, anyone praying or whatever, I do feel less sensitive to the spirit. But I mean, that's a natural consequence of sticking your hand on the fireplace. Eventually, you're not going to feel it burning anymore because you don't have any fucking nerves anymore. And that's what I don't want. But I really do,
Matthew, my friend Joe says that he wants you to call into the atheist experience right now and talk to Matt Dillahunty.
Oh, Dillahunty? Yeah, I talked to Aaron Robb. I biffed it so no one watched it. I was a total pussy.
Oh.
But yeah, I would love to talk to old Dillahunty. He's a funny guy.
What would you say right now to Matt Dillahunty, like as an atheist? What would you say, honestly? Because you've been through hell and back.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say, heart to heart, sitting down with him in front of the fireplace, not on the internet, but just man to man? What would you say to the guy?
I'd be like, look, man, it's not, just because you're bald doesn't mean God doesn't like you. So just forgive him, and just he's working it all for, all things together for good. So just, give
Stop
it up. You're
pretending that
bald. Just, you still look good. You got a nice round head. You can thank him for that.
stop pretending
I
God
think that's
doesn't
what he's mad
exist.
about. Yeah. Yeah. He's just like, I got no hair. There ain't no God. That ain't fair.
Does
You
he
know what
say
I
that?
mean? No. Just fucking,
But
no.
who are you? You should ask him. Who are you angry at?
Yeah. Uh,
Like, who's
uh,
this God that you're so angry at?
well, it's all pride, I think. But he's just being skeptical, so skeptical, like, and just, I just have to be intellectually honest here. I have no evidence for this and that. But then he'll then propose all of his presuppositions for his worldview that have no basis in anything too. So it's just a game that he's playing with himself. Uh, you know, uh, so the whole evidence thing, he's skeptical until it's time to become skeptical of his own skepticism. And then he's like, no, that's an absolute there. Like, it's just like, well, you should probably, that doesn't make sense. But I think he's a smart guy and he's fun to listen to. Like, I'd hang out with him for sure. But he's just like one of those ghosts in The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis that's just like, he won't listen. Like, they just argue with the people and they're just trying to say, look, none of that stuff you think matters. If you'll just let it go, there's some great things waiting for you. Will you please come? Like, oh, well, how can I go there with that guy over there? He was a murderer and I can't be seen with something like that. And it's just like, oh, come on, lady. You know what I mean? If you haven't read it in a while, read it
I
again, because
should.
it's just eerie. Like, I feel like I'm in the book because of conversations like this. I'm like the guy, the ghost that's not quite moving on, and you are one of these other guys trying to talk you out of it. They're trying to talk you out of hell, and God keeps putting these people, but they just come up with arguments and excuses and arguments and excuses in the book. And it's just like, God, I'm that guy. Like all these stupid excuses, or like, Matt Dillahunty. He's really good at making up excuses and not listening. Like, he's not trying to find the truth. He assumes that he already has it. So he's like, oh, I'm just objective. I'm just going with the evidence. Bullshit. Like, there's no way. If you were really objective and listened to just him talk for an hour, you'd see him contradict himself in that.
I saw a quote by a saint recently. I wish I had made note of which saint it was that said this, but they said that God is more happy with a sinner who's struggling than he is with a Catholic in the state of grace who is lukewarm. Right?
Oh,
You've heard about this lukewarm thing in the Book of
yeah,
Revelation,
it's
but
not good.
God's more pleased. A saint said this, that God is more pleased with the sinner who's struggling than with that lukewarm Catholic who happens to be in the state of grace. Okay, so be comforted by that and be encouraged by that, and know that God loves you and that you're you're his child, and it's like there's no, from experience, there's no chastisement coming to you in terms of rubbing your nose in your filth, like, look what you did, ha 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 ha. And there's none of that from God. None. There's a lot of that from Satan for all eternity if you go to hell.
Yeah.
But there's none of that from God. He just wants what's best for you, and to keep coming, walking towards him, and he's ready to embrace you like the prodigal son. So that's it. I mean, it's like I'm always amazed at the grace and the patience of God, and how loving he is, and how kind he is, and how gentle. And I would, if I were God, I would want it to at least give a little wink and a nod, like, I know what you did, and that's disgusting. I would want to.
Yeah.
I would want to. Just so I let the creature know, like, I know exactly what you did. It's disgusting. Yeah. Like,
I saw you.
Just a little hint, like, don't forget, I am all seeing and all knowing, and that you're disgusting.
That's gross too. And I had when I was in rehab, I had to go to rehab, in August, and there was some guy from Kenya there, super just heart for Jesus Christ, and he had like a thick accent. He's like straight from Kenya, and he got like stuck in America for whatever reason. So he wound up on this rehab ranch, and he just said something. He's like, Jesus, when you are doing your sin, he sees you. And he like gave me like this look, like he sees you. And then I just had a flashback to what I was doing a week prior in some filthy red light district hotel room. It's like he saw that, not just, oh, he's aware, he knows, he freaking saw it. And I was just like, ah, man, you know.
Wow.
It do you think? Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just crazy that he would even look at it. I don't think the father can even look at that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
You think, you know, he would just, I don't know, like maybe like he knows what's going on, but I don't know, man. It's just like, it just seems like it would affect him somehow.
If you've seen me, you've seen the Father, says Christ. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. So yeah, I mean, he knows your sin better than you do, and
yeah. And Christ actually, I don't know if it, you know, he embodied it, like he's right.
Yeah. He humanized.
I don't know.
Human experience, the human experience.
Yeah.
The full human experience. It's not like filtered. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna incarnate. I'm gonna go down there, but I'm gonna put this filter. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see that. No, he's like, he sees everything.
Sees it all.
Everything. And the way I like to think about it is from the perspective of heaven. Like, okay, fast forward, you and I are in heaven together, celebrating.
I hope so,
Fast forward, okay? And we look back on our sins, and we're like, we are grateful. We're grateful to God for his mercy. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast, we're grateful that he went that low. He went that low. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the mercy and the grace and the love of God to go that low?
Yeah, I can't imagine it. You know, like I have no idea what something so high coming down so low. Like I don't even understand how high he is. I don't think we'll know until we see him and see him like, oh God, that's the one I'm like, you know, talking to like this and being all cavalier about stuff. I think we'll probably have a whole different idea then.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's amazing. It's a trip, man, you know, and like you were saying earlier, how he comes and scrapes the bottom of the barrel, the disgusting,
you're that scum.
Sewage.
You're that scum. And he has a plan for the scum. Like he has a plan to love you in heaven for all eternity and transform you into himself. Like it's like, wow. So you and I are the glory. We are the glory of God. We are the glory of God. If we make it. If we say yes. If we make it.
Don't say if. Damn it.
If we don't make it, then we are the glory of God nonetheless. Nonetheless.
Yeah, he gets it either way. It's a good system.
He gets the glory either way because it's his justice in hell. We're going to be, it's perfect. That's why the people in heaven are going to smile down on us if we're in hell, God forbid. If we end up in hell, because where you go, I go. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I take it back. If you go to heaven, I go with you. If you go to hell, have a nice time. Have a nice trip.
We'll get to heaven. We'll be like, oh, we can't believe you let us in. They'll be like, oh, you were our 2 first picks. We're like, why? Because you guys are the 2 biggest pieces of shit on the planet. It's, you know, we got you cleaned up. That's a good thing for the trophy room. Yes.
Amazing.
Number 1.
Amazing. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Why don't we talk more, man? Why don't we talk more?
Let's do it. I honestly just have
a lot going on.
Not really had, you know, a lot of time, and my wife, you know, when I'm spending time with the kids, she's not very sympathetic with me ditching out and having these long conversations anymore. But yeah, dude.
On your drive home from work, that's when you can do it.
Yeah. Drive home from work is great. Yeah, dude. I'd love to. Let's start talking more. It really encourages me, and it came right on time today. So I really appreciate you keeping me.
Or when Candy's in the bathroom at the red light hotel, you just call me when she's in the bathroom taking a shower. In between sessions there, and you call me and
brother, get me out of here. But talk to this chick, man.
Did you ever try to preach the gospel to any of your drug dealers and hookers?
No.
Like, you're a sinner. You should convert, man. Like, you're on the wrong path.
You don't want to be like me here. That's why I came down here. This is called missionary. That's why it's the missionary position. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I should have said that. I'm still a little rough around the edges here. I apologize for my bad language, but you know my kind, David. Yes. I'm just a lowly construction worker.
You're a humble, blue
humble
collar plumber.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been great, and you really encouraged me again, dude. It's good to see you. And I want to catch up on your personal stuff too.
I got nothing going on. Everything's good. Boring life.
Good?
It's a boring life. Work,
keeping
sleep.
You in check?
Yeah.
Cool. Good.
Everything's good. And so love you lots, and I'll be praying for you.
Love you, brother.
Pray for my cousin. My mom just phoned me all in tears because her favorite niece has a brain tumor. She's going to die soon. So keep Armida, my cousin Armida, in your prayers.
Armida.
And
your mom's talking to you though.
Yeah, she's talking to me. Yeah.
She talked to you. That's good. Because last time we talked, she was.
We go through rough patches. We go through rough patches together. You know.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. She's suffering a lot all the time with different things and whatever. It's not easy. So remember her in your prayers too. And you've listened to her interview on my podcast, right?
I love your mom, dude.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
I love the whole clan. All right, cool, brother.
How's your family? Your family's good? Your parents are good?
Oh, well, my dad just started hospice the other day.
That's right.
But, I mean, he seems like he's doing okay. He's not like, like end, but you know how this type of stuff is the beginning of the end. So
yeah, how old would he be now?
He's 76.
There you go. So yeah,
he's a good Catholic boy. My mom brought him the Eucharist today because they're Eucharistic ministers. So
Palm Sunday.
He can't leave the house, but he can still get that body. So yeah, dude.
I got the big palm. When I got this big ginormous palm, I'm like, this is a good omen for my eternal salvation. Like I never had such a big palm before.
Yeah, dude, you're in for sure now.
I'm in. So I can
put in a good word for me. If you beat me there,
I can go sin and sin boldly because I'm going to heaven. I got my palm, man. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Love you, my brother.
Love you, dude.
We'll talk soon. Love you. Bye.
Yeah, just let me know when you got time and we'll work it out.
Yeah, man. God bless. Bye.
God bless you, man.